Welcome to Mr. Bedtime Reader, your quiet corner of the world, where stories meet wisdom, and learning feels as calm as falling asleep under the stars. Tonight I have something fascinating for you. We're not just talking about a book. We're exploring the hidden psychology that shapes every decision we make. Dr. Robert Cialdini's influence is a masterpiece. It reveals the 6 invisible levers that make people say yes. Whether it's a salesperson convincing you to buy, a friend asking for a favor, or a cause inspiring you to take action, these aren't just tricks. They're timeless human instincts. And once you understand them, you can spot them everywhere. So close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let's step into a world where persuasion becomes visible, where you'll learn how to protect your choices and guide them more wisely. This is your invitation to a journey through influence. A journey that just might change the way you see every conversation tomorrow. Now let's begin. Here is Chapter 1, Weapons of Influence. Imagine you're walking through a quiet street market on a sunny afternoon. A shopkeeper smiles at you, offers you a free piece of chocolate. And before you know it, you're buying a box you never planned to take home. Why? Because, as Robert Cialdini explains, our brains have shortcuts, little mental buttons, that can be pressed to guide our decisions automatically. He calls these weapons of influence. The power of automatic responses. Just like a record player that starts playing when you drop the needle. Our brains often respond to certain triggers without much thought. For example, think of a turkey mother. Cialdini tells us that she takes care of her chicks only when she hears their distinctive cheep sound. Even if another animal makes the same sound, she'll respond because the sound is the trigger. Humans are not so different. When we see certain cues like a smile, a favor, a sense of urgency, we often act without stopping to think deeply. The expensive necklace story. Once, a jewelry store owner couldn't sell a batch of turquoise necklaces. She was about to discount them, but by mistake she doubled the price instead. The next day they sold out completely. Why? Because people assumed that expensive meant valuable. Our brains love shortcuts. High price equals high quality, even if we never checked if that was true. Why this matters? Cialdini warns us that these shortcuts are helpful, but they can also be used against us. Marketers, salespeople, even friends asking for favors. They all know these automatic buttons work. And once you see them, you can protect yourself and use them ethically when you need to persuade. As you relax tonight, think about the last time you said yes, without thinking too hard about it. Was it a smile? A free sample? A limited time offer? Seeing these moments is the first step to taking back control of your decisions. And now in Chapter 2, Reciprocity, the old give and take and take. Picture this. You're sitting in a cozy cafe when the waiter brings you a free cookie with your coffee. You didn't order it, but you smile and say thank you. When the bill comes, you notice yourself leaving a slightly bigger tip than usual. Why? Because of one of the strongest forces in human behavior. Reciprocity, the rule of giving back. Robert Cialdini explains, across every culture, people feel an obligation to return favors. If someone does something for us, we naturally want to do something back, even if we didn't ask for it. The free soda experiment. Cialdini tells a story about a researcher who gave people a free soda during an art exhibit. Later he asked them to buy raffle tickets. The ones who received the soda bought twice as many tickets as those who didn't, even if they didn't like the researcher very much. The gift created a quiet, invisible pull to say yes. The Hare Krishna example. In airports, members of the Hare Krishna movement used to hand travelers a flower as a gift. People felt uncomfortable refusing the gift, and soon after they were asked for a donation. Most people gave money, not because they wanted the flower, but because they wanted to clear the sense of obligation. How to use this wisely? Cialdini says reciprocity is powerful, but it must be used with care. When you give genuinely, you build trust, friendship, and goodwill. When you use it to manipulate, people eventually notice, and the trust is gone forever. As you lie in bed tonight, think about how often this quiet rule shapes your life. A favor, a smile, a small gift. They all invite a return gesture. Tomorrow, maybe you can offer someone something small and genuine. And watch how the world gently gives back. Here is Chapter 3, Commitment and Consistency, Hobgoblins of the Mind. Imagine a small seaside town where a shop owner puts a sign in his window. Please call before coming. One by one, locals agree. It's a tiny commitment, just a nod or a sure I will. But hear the magic. Almost every single one of them actually calls before visiting. Why? Because once we say yes to something, we feel a deep pull to stay consistent with our word. The power of commitment. Robert Cialdini explains that we have a strong need to align our actions with what we've already said or done. Even small commitments can guide big future behaviors. The beach theft story. In one experiment, researchers placed a towel on a beach with a radio on it. When a stranger stole the radio, only a few people tried to stop them. But when someone first asked, "Can you watch my things while I'm gone?" and the person said yes, almost everyone stood up to stop the thief. That small verbal commitment turned passive bystanders into protectors. Why it works? Commitment gives us identity. If you see yourself as the kind of person who keeps promises, you will go to great lengths to honor even tiny agreements. Because being consistent feels good, and being inconsistent feels uncomfortable. Using it wisely. Start small when influencing yourself or others. Want to start running? Tell a friend you'll just put your shoes on. Want someone to support a cause? Ask them to sign a petition first. Each small yes leads naturally to a bigger yes. As you settle into sleep, think about the small promises you make to others and to yourself. Each one is a thread weaving the fabric of who you are. Keep them carefully, and they will guide you toward the person you want to become. Here is Chapter 4, Social Proof, Truths Are Us. It's a rainy evening. You walk into a restaurant you've never been to before. There are two tables, one completely empty, and one crowded with people laughing, eating, enjoying their food. Without even thinking, you feel drawn to the busy table. If so many people chose it, it must be good, right? This, Robert Cialdini explains, is the quiet pull of social proof. Our tendency to look at what others are doing, to decide what we should do. The power of the crowd. When we're unsure, we assume that if many people are doing something, it must be the right thing. That's why laugh tracks on TV make us laugh more. Why online reviews shape what we buy. And why long lines outside a shop make us curious. The falling man experiment. In one study, a man pretended to collapse on a busy street. When only a few people were around, someone rushed to help almost immediately. But when the street was crowded, people looked around and waited for someone else to act first. This is called pluralistic ignorance. When everyone assumes someone else will act, so no one does. Social proof for good. Marketers use this power all the time. Bestseller. Join 10,000 happy customers. Trending now. But you can use it too. To encourage good behavior. Post visible progress. Celebrate small wins. And let others see that positive action is normal. As you drift toward sleep tonight, think about the invisible crowds guiding your choices. Ask yourself, are they leading me where I want to go? Or just where everyone else is going? Choose your crowd carefully, because their path can quietly become your own. And in Chapter 5, Liking, the Friendly Thief. Picture this. You're walking through a sunny neighborhood. A friendly neighbor waves, smiles warmly, and asks if you'd like to buy a few boxes of cookies to support the local kids' club. You say yes almost instantly. Not because you need cookies, but because you like the person asking. This is the power of liking. We say yes more often to people we know, like or find attractive, while we say yes to friends. Robert Cialdini discovered that we are more easily persuaded by people who are similar to us, shared hobbies, background, or style. Compliment us, genuine praise opens our hearts. Make us feel good, smiling, friendly, warm energy builds trust. The Tupperware Party Secret. One of Cialdini's classic examples is the Tupperware party. Sales reps didn't sell in a store. They sold in someone's living room. You weren't just buying plastic containers. You were supporting your friend, your neighbor, your host who made you snacks and laughed with you. Sales soared not because of the product, but because of the relationship. Liking can be used against us. Sometimes liking can be used to manipulate. Scammers and salespeople may pretend to be friendly, to win your trust before taking advantage. That's why Cialdini reminds us to separate the message from the messenger. Ask yourself, would I still agree if I didn't know or like this person? As you relax tonight, think about the people who influence you, the ones whose opinions you trust most. Liking is powerful, so choose wisely who you let into your circle, and be the kind of person whose influence lifts others higher. And in Chapter 6 we know authority, directed deference. Imagine you're sitting in a doctor's office. The doctor walks in wary,